Hi, and welcome back to Maple History. I'm Christina Austin, and Simon is here with me again.
Your constant foil.
Henry's here too. He's on the bed. So I will be organizing other guests to come back on to chat soon, but it's summer, and I've been barely hanging on since May.
And that's Henry scratching himself in the background.
So with this episode, it feels like we're entering phase 2. I've laid the groundwork for who the nations were in Canada a little bit. And now the Europeans are fully entering into their colonizing era of North America. We had Cartier and Roberval taking the L on their Firefest-style colony back in 1542 to 43. And after that, there was annual fishing trips to Newfoundland by the French and Basque sailors. And they kept in fairly continuous contact with the Indigenous people there.
All right.
So today, we're getting into Champlain. So it's enter Champlain.
Stage right.
Yeah. There's a bunch of characters who start things off for him because there's like 50 years or so, but things kind of ramp up. So we'll get there. So there was all those fishing and fur collecting trips.
Yeah.
They would go there and they'd have some camps and then they'd come back.
Was it beaver at this time or no? Did that come later?
No, they had beaver, but it was all any pelts. So there really wasn't any efforts to start up a colony until 1577 when Marquis de la Roche, who actually he has a much longer name, but it's ridiculously aristocratic and French.
Not the rock guy.
Nope.
Different guy.
Different guy. So this is de la Roche, and the other guy was de la Roque.
Okay, yeah. Just I figured because it's like we're talking 50 years in the future, so I assume it's a different guy.
Yeah, this guy's long dead.
Yeah.
Francois de la Roque is like, he had a good being killed. So in the history books, they always call him Roberval, and they call this guy La Roche, even though that Roberval went by La Roque in his own time.
All right.
So I guess it's like the history books kind of, screw you. We're not going with your preferred name. So yeah, La Roche, basically what he's doing, he was going to take a commission. He was taking over the commission that had been given to Roberval, which was to colonize areas for Catholicism and the king while keeping a major cut of the take.
Was he Protestant too?
No, he was Catholic.
Okay. Yeah. All right. True believer.
Yeah. So La Roche was a courtier of Henry III. So he had all the right connections. I mean, the king is always in this game. Like you can't get anything without his approval, right?
Yeah.
So he got the commission and he really didn't do anything with it for 5 or 6 years. And then in 1584, he got about 300 colonists organized to head to Canada. But his lead ship fell apart just off the coast of France. And they're like, whoa,
Didn't make it far. Wow.
No.
Okay.
No. In 1588, Jacques Noël, Cartier's nephew, he got a 12-year monopoly for Canada from the king. This didn't last because there was squabbling among the merchants, and the king relented and revoked the monopoly, which basically pushed Noël out because he couldn't make any money. So there was back and forth efforts of Noël and some successful fur trading voyages, and La Roche finally had a go at creating a French colony in 1598. But basically Noël's out. He bounced when he didn't get the deal he wanted.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the Cartiers in the colonization.
Oh, okay.
So because Noël was the nephew. He had to go creating the colony in 1598. He tries again. He gets 250 settlers from among what historian Marcel Trudel describes as beggars and vagabonds.
Of course, yeah.
So this is going to go really well.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. So they ship out to Sable Island, which is an island off of Nova Scotia. That's the one that La Roche chose for reasons, bad reasons, turns out.
Why would you go to an island?
Well, there's defensible. I don't know.
I guess.
So La Roche goes with them at the outset, but he goes home to France before winter.
Okay.
Smart. Things go okay for a couple of years because La Roche keeps sending a supply ship every year. But they miss sending a supply ship in 1602.
They just forget? Maybe they didn't have money.
So they sent one in 1601. They didn't send it in 1602. And supply ship returned in 1603. And boy, oh boy, had shit gone down that year. So they had left 79 people there. Okay. So there were only 11 left.
Wow. Were they like eating each other? Like, was it that bad?
No, but they had assassinated or murdered the commander and the chief, kind of the quartermaster.
Quartermaster.
So they, offed him. Obviously, a bunch of them died, but then a bunch of them just buggered off. So they just probably went with indigenous people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why there was only 11.
There was only 11 left. And so the 11 surviving colonists returned to France, and they told a story to the king that convinced the king that they're like, oh, they were good. Yay. It wasn't us. And they got a pardon. But I'm like, why do you need a pardon? What'd you do?
From killing the quartermaster.
Or from messing up the colony or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Whatever happened, it was like, we're the good ones.
Yes. We stayed and tried to defend the fort and
Yeah, so they got a pardon. And the records of that whole saga were pretty sketchy. And the story did not come out beyond that it was just a failure until the 1880s.
Oh, wow.
When the historians
they found it in the records or something? Yeah.
And they're like, whoa. Because they were just like, oh yeah, La Roche, your colony failed. Oh well. Mm-hmm. So La Roche is out. And in steps Pierre Chauvin du Tontuy, a Protestant.
Okay.
And he gets the exclusive monopoly to trade in Canada.
And spread Catholicism?
I don't know if he had to do that.
Oh,
because Henry IV was a Protestant at different times. He
flipped back and forth. All right.
So Henry IV waffled about that monopoly and gave in to La Roche's complaints about it and sort of gave them both a deal at the same time.
Okay.
So La Roche is still kind
really how a monopoly works.
I know.
Is it?
I was like, listen.
Give them a duopoly?
It was very messy. If you really want the nitty gritty on those details, Marcel Trudel's book, The Beginnings of New France, 1524 to 1663. Go there. It's one of the old history books, one of the foundational books that you kind of read. He's one of the early historians. I think that one was written in the 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's French. Trudel is French Canadian.
Okay.
So and so his books have been translated too. So yeah, spoiler: Chauvin's attempts fail too. So Chauvin's first voyage was in spring of 1600. On this trip, there are two important people who will be vital for the future success of Champlain. So we have Francois Gravé Dupont, aka Pont Gravé. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Pont Gravé.
Okay.
And Pierre Duguay de Mont, aka Dumont.
Dumont, all right.
Dumont. Annoyingly, in David Hacket Fischer's book, Champlain's Dream, instead of de M-O-N-T-S, he has M-O-N-S, which is it's like Americanizing it, like, because it's Mont is like, he's from the mountains, like he's like of the mountains, right? It's like, is this the same guy? So it took me a bit.
Well, yeah, that's very annoying.
Anyways, it's Dumont with a T.
Yeah, of course, because it's French.
Anyway, so Pont Gravé was an experienced sailor, a merchant, a soldier. He'd already been to Canada and traded with the indigenous people. And in both these books and other ones, he's a very jolly fellow.
Okay.
So Pont Gravé, he's like...
Jolly as in like, he's got a big belly and he's like chuckling a lot. And okay.
Like he has a bit of a... Yeah. Yeah, what's that apple brandy? Anyways, he likes that one. I forget what it's called. Anyways, he likes that.
Okay.
He has a temper, but whatever. Yeah. Like everyone likes him. He's very successful. He's a
big fat guy. He's got a bright red nose from the alcohol. He's really jolly.
He probably he probably is. I mean, because they drink a lot, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't the best quality stuff.
Oh, it's still pretty good. I mean, they're rich, right?
That's true. That's true.
Because it's distilled. It's still brandy, right?
Yeah.
If you know any Shakespeare, he's considered the Falstaff of Champlain's kind of colonizing events. So Falstaff was in Henry the Fifth, Henry the Fourth, and Henry the Fifth, and he's like this jolly kind of, but like wise, and because he's older than Champlain. And I'm not going to go into too much details about him in this episode because he plays a big part in Quebec.
Okay.
So we'll get to him. So Dumont doesn't really play a big role in this voyage, but he will later. And Champlain's not on this one either. So Chauvin chose Tadoussac as the place where he wanted to plant the colony. So this had been a trading position for like the indigenous people. Like they had, Cartier knew about it. Like it was like, it's that port. Like it was, so it was a thing.
Where is that now?
It's Tadoussac.
That's Tadoussac? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know where Tadoussac is in Quebec.
Let's live research. It's before you get to Quebec City, and it's at the mouth of the Saguenay River.
North shore of the St. Lawrence River, west of the Saguenay.
Yeah, right at the mouth of the Saguenay.
Yeah.
So he chose this because it was a fairly well-established trading point, and his goal was to make money and trade.
Yeah.
And that was it. But he did not have a good understanding of how spectacularly shitty winter is in Quebec.
How do they not know still?
I know. Compared to, because they're like, oh, we're on the same longitude or latitude as France. It was fine. France is great in winter. I'm like, okay, but whoops. So anyways, he had buggered back off to France anyways before winter set in, leaving 16 men there. And then the only way the men survived that winter was because of the assistance of the indigenous people. Again. So it was mainly the Innu. They call them the Montagnais often, but they're the Innu, as they were the ones who controlled that area and during that time period. So before, it would have been the St. Lawrence Iroquois or Stadaconans, all those people, but they'd gone, which listen to the other episode about the disappearance of the St. Lawrence Iroquois if you really want to know all the details of them. So anyways, and here's a fun fact. Tadoussac is named from the Innu word for that area, Tatuskak, which means breasts.
Nice.
Boobs. Because of the lovely rolling hills nearby.
Nice.
Yeah. And I love that for them. Like, that's like, the French were like, oh, boobs. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we'll keep that name. Just like in Wyoming, the Grand Tetons. It was the French fur traders are like, oh, they look like boobs. So those mountains, oh, love them. Okay, good for them. I wonder how many areas are named near mountains.
Lots.
So Chauvin sent a supply ship in 1602, and they saw what a disaster the Tadoussac settlement was. It was a failure because of lack of leadership, because he left.
Yeah.
And lack of planning for appropriate shelter. Champlain blamed Chauvin's Protestantism.
Okay.
That was irrelevant. So yes, Chauvin's attempt failed, but he did succeed in reestablishing France's occupation of what would be an important trading port for what will be New France. So Chauvin died in 1603, so he takes his bow from the story now. La Roche still had that terrible Sable Island colony and partial monopoly of Canada, whatever, and wanted to take over Chauvin's part after he died, but the king gave it to Aymar de Chaste. De Chaste had served Henry IV with Pontgravé and Nemours. So all these guys knew each other. It was a small world, especially if you're hanging around the court of Henry IV. So La Roche was sending his last ship to Sable Island in 1603, and that's the same time that de Chaste organized a fleet to go to Canada in March 1603 with Pontgravé. And guess who finally comes into the story?
Oh, Champlain.
Here he comes. Yeah. So finally, enter Samuel de Champlain. So let's get a bit of a bio covered here, just like little sketch where he's from. So he was born probably around 1570.
Okay.
I don't know. Different historians pick different dates, but we'll go 1570.
Records weren't the best back then.
Yeah, Fischer has a theory of why
he
doesn't have good records. So he's born in Brouage, probably. His mother's family may have been Huguenots, so Protestants. His father was a mariner. He was a pilot, and then he eventually became a captain as well. So he was like a seafaring man.
Yeah.
But not a grunt. So eventually he became captain and had a decent amount of success in his life. He was fairly good at his job. Samuel spent most of his life in the town called Saint-Ange and considered that his hometown. He was a man of Saint-Ange. Everyone called him that. But he's also kind of from Brouage, but whatever. They're not that far. So Champlain's biographer, David Hacket Fischer, puts forward a couple of interesting but ultimately really unprovable theories about Champlain's early life in his book, Champlain's Dream. The first one is related to religion. We talked about before, this was right in the smack in the middle of the Reformation and the wars that resulted from that. Brouage was a pretty strong Huguenot area, and Champlain had family members that were Huguenot. Fischer believes that Champlain was baptized and raised Protestant, but converted to Catholicism later.
Okay.
But there is no doubt that Champlain was a Catholic when he founded Quebec City. He goes into great detail about the religious situation at the time in that area in particular.
There was like a war about it that we already talked about.
A lot of wars, yeah.
A lot of, yeah.
There was like 9 religious wars in that era.
Yeah. And I mistakenly thought everyone was getting chucked out of windows.
Yes. Well, they were. Well, they did. They did get defenestrated. Well, that was 1618. The second defenestration of Prague.
Oh, okay. Not the first.
Not the first. I don't think it's the last either, because whatever. So the other gossipy bit in Fischer's book is when he gives an explanation about why the son of a sea captain without a noble birth could get the attention of Henry IV so easily.
Yeah.
So before Henry IV was king, he was Henry of Navarre, and he's the same Henry of Navarre whose wedding to the sister of the French king was part of the spark that led to the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre.
Okay.
So he's in the mix, right? He was Protestant then,
Yeah.
and then he was forced at sword point during the massacre to convert, and he did.
Okay.
Because he lived.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I'm Catholic. And then he's like, nope, I'm not.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I am. He probably was Protestant in his heart of hearts, but he was like, whatever.
An opportunist.
I get to live
Yeah.
and be king. Sure, I'll be Catholic. Spoiler, that's probably why he was assassinated.
Okay.
Because Catholic zealot didn't believe him.
Yeah.
Go figure. Anyways, how he became king, you'll have to listen to a History of France podcast to get all that. So Henry of Navarre was a Protestant. Then he converted to Catholicism and then whatever, converted back. So it was a whole thing. And the theory is that when Henry was visiting his mother, who lived near Brouage, between 1568 and 1572, when he was a teenage horn dog, he could have gotten a young woman pregnant, and the baby was adopted by a good family, because any child of someone of that would have been adopted out, so could have been adopted by the Champlains.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this explains why Samuel does not have any baptismal or birth records when they did exist. Like there are other ones, right? So
Yeah.
Of the time. And why he was given a pension from Henry IV in 1601, and why he could get a meeting so frequently with the king.
Yeah. How else would you?
I think he had a reasonable amount of charisma, but he wasn't that charming.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's the theory. Take it for whatever you want.
He's the illegitimate son of a king.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Or
Yeah.
maybe he's just the son of a sea captain and his lovely wife.
Yeah.
Don't know. So Champlain began his life on the sea around age 14, which was pretty normal because he's following his father's footsteps. 14's not bad, actually.
No, it's not.
He'd had an education, you know.
Yeah. It's like a university degree by then.
Yeah, and later moved on to be a non-commissioned officer for Henry IV in one of his wars. It was in Brittany, whatever. Champlain had seen plenty of action in this war. He would use that battle experience to his advantage in Canada in later years. So after the war, he was searching for something to do. He wanted to explore for France. He wanted to explore the New World. And really his best bet was with the Spaniards and to go with them. But they had just been fighting each other.
So he wanted to explore for France, but his best bet was to travel with the Spanish on behalf of France. Or partner with the Spanish?
Like spying. Like hitch a ride with Spanish and be like, yeah, I'll come. Because he is an experienced mariner, right?
Yes, I see.
So what he's really doing is trying to further France's
interests
colonizing, because they want a piece of the action in the New World. Yeah, his best bet was to go with the Spaniards because they had all those established colonies, right? Out in Mexico and the Caribbean and Venezuela and all these places. They had been there for 100 years.
Yeah.
Whereas France did not have those colonies yet. Yeah, so he managed to find his way to join a ship in 1598. Yeah, he was spying on them to see what they're doing in the New World. They were always fine with him. Like he was just exploring with them. He wasn't doing, like, he wasn't trying to undermine them or anything like that, or sabotage or anything like that. He was just kind of like,
and I'm sure they knew, like, you know,
but
like he's a French guy, like,
but there would have been a lot of fluidity in that world of like, oh, we need a new navigator. We'll take the French guy. I don't care. Whoever's available. Oh, there's a Basque. Sure, let's go. We'll go with him. Like, there would have been Spanish people. There would have been Portuguese people. Like, it was the Giovanni Caboto. He was John Cabot.
Yeah.
For the English. Yeah. Like, okay. Like, didn't really matter. So they were used to that kind of thing. So, yeah, he went to the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Isla de Margarita, off the coast of Venezuela, and he saw the pearl mining, and they were using enslaved people, and he was pretty horrified by what was going on there. It was bad because they have to dive for them.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were patient when they needed a break.
Yes, gotcha.
But he really noted in Mexico how cruel the Spanish were to the indigenous population, particularly in regards to religion. So they were enslaved, and if they did not convert and obey Catholicism, they were tortured and often executed. And Fischer makes the case that it was Champlain's experience with the Spanish in their colonies that drove him to create a more equitable, or at the very least, a more respectful relationship with the indigenous nations in Canada.
Interesting.
Yes, he wanted to convert them to Catholicism because this was the time.
Yeah.
Religious tolerance only went so far.
Yeah.
Because they really believed that this was the only way. Like, they truly believed this. So he wanted to save their souls. But he wasn't stringing them up, whipping them for missing mass, that kind of, which is what the Spanish were doing in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote this contemporaneously. He wrote this at the time, and he was critical at the time.
Okay.
Which is not new. There was a lot of people critical at the time of the treatment of enslaved people.
Well, I imagine it's got to be a lot about control. Like, religion was certainly a part of it. And they have true believers and all of that sort of stuff. But then I imagine a lot of people were like, it's about control.
I don't know. I think they really believed it. They really believed that they were literally saving them from an eternal hellfire. I don't know. Going about whipping people to death to convert them, I don't think that's a great way.
No.
I disagree. So he did that for a couple years, year and a bit. And in August, he arrived in Cadiz Bay in Spain, and he visited his uncle Provençal, and I think that sounds like a fake name, but it's his uncle. So his uncle took ill, and Champlain looked after him until his death in 1601. And his uncle left him an estate in La Rochelle, France, for giving him such good care in the last year of life. He wrote very nicely in his will.
Oh, nice.
Champlain seems like a decent bloke.
Yeah.
So yeah, after he's back in France and he had financial independence from his new inheritance, and he was also receiving that pension from the king because he's maybe his son.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because it's not like it. I think he did well in that war with Spain, but he wasn't like a great general or anything. Like, he was too young, right? He was only 28.
Yeah. Would have been a pilot, I guess, or would have been.
He was a soldier. Like, he was an NCO.
Okay. A non-commissioned officer.
He did well, but he wasn't great. He didn't save France or anything.
No.
So yeah, we're at 1602, 1603. He's hanging around the court of his dad. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if Champlain knew anything? It's gossipy stuff. It's fun though. All right, so he's hanging around Henri IV's court, and Champlain got wind of what Deschastes' plans were, and he's like, hell yeah, I want to go on that. So Deschastes agreed that Champlain could join, and then Champlain had to get permission from the king, because technically receiving a pension mean he couldn't take another job without the king's approval.
Oh, interesting.
But the king's like, yeah, sure, go. So Champlain joined Pontgravé on board the ship Bon Renommée. Pontgravé was the leader of this expedition. I think there was 3 ships.
Okay.
Anyways, he's on the Bon Renommée. And they set out March 15th, 1603. Technically the Ides of March.
Oh, all right.
Not great. Anyway, so they hit a nasty storm on their way, but they made it to Tadoussac in May 1603. So we're in Tadoussac, all good. They met the Innu people who were controlling the area, and they realized, there's a lot of Innu people here, like not just like a handful, because usually they didn't have an established village there, but they had set up a camp, like a little over from Tadoussac, in Pointe aux Alouettes. That's not what the Innu called it, but that's what it is now.
Okay.
And they were having a huge celebration for a recent victory over the Haudenosaunee.
The Innu?
Yeah, the Innu.
The Innu had a victory over the Haudenosaunee.
Yeah.
I guess it could have, like, it's always I know the Haudenosaunee are huge, but it could have just been like a small little battle with them. Or was it like a big?
It was a big one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because there was like different villages, basically, or different areas, because Innu didn't do the villages much, because the Innu, they didn't grow corn and stuff.
Okay.
In the older history books, they always called them the Montagnais. So if you learn in school, that's who they were, but they're the Innu, not Inuit.
Yes.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It did my head in a bit to have to figure that out.
Yeah, but sorry, they weren't farmers. They were
they're hunter-gatherer.
Okay.
And they were more allied with the Wendat.
Yeah.
Partnered more, like allied sort of, because an ally implies that they'll go to mutual aid.
Yes.
Automatically, but not really. They didn't do that. They would if they could meet and convince each other at the time, but it wasn't a given.
Yes.
So Champlain and Pontgravé, they went over to the camp and they saw this lively scene with children and dogs and women and men all gathering, and they're just getting this ready to have a
shindig
party. Yeah, they're going to party it up. And they also saw over 100 Haudenosaunee scalps on display.
Oh, okay.
Good times.
So
and,
there was a big battle, right?
Wounded captives with clear signs of the gruesome torture that was started. In Fischer's little description, there's things were dripping. It's gross. So Champlain and Pontgravé did not bring their weapons with them. Like, they had them on the ship, obviously. But when they went into the camp, they did not bring their weapons.
Smart.
Yeah. They did learn something. They did dress for the occasion to meet the Sagamore, or chief. So I find a lot of history books written by Americans, they use the term Sagamore.
Okay.
So I think Sagamore is a chief that might be a term used by the more Southern American indigenous nations down there, like the ones on the East Coast.
Okay.
Not the Mi'kmaq, but the other ones.
Yeah.
So the Sagamore, and then down south, like Sagamore seems to be a common term.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure where that lands in
I've never
the
heard
tradition
that before.
for Indigenous people in Canada. I don't know if that lands for them. So anyways, they met with Anadabiju. He was the Innu chief that was kind of running the show there for the celebration.
Okay.
And then there was other Sagamores or chiefs for the other villages and groups, right? Because they all have their own kind of family and clan groupings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were wearing their shiny armor and their plumed helmets, so they were looking great. And also there was a couple young Innu men who had been to Paris.
Really?
Because there were ships going back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
So they had gone, and because they're like, oh, what the hell? Sure, I'll go. Huh. And so they knew some French.
Okay.
So they were assisting with the chiefs and meeting up. So the Frenchmen joined in the celebration by sharing the feast of moose, bear, seal, beaver, and fowl, like geese and whatnot, with the Innu.
Beaver taste any good? I never thought that it's a rodent, isn't it?
It's big, but it's like a watery one. So I don't know. It's probably greasy as all can be.
Yes. Yeah. Very greasy.
I mean, it wouldn't be my choice, but sure. So Fischer does mention a rather nasty part where a warrior was carrying around a dog and then hurled it violently to the ground and then shouted like hoots of ho, ho, ho. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. And the other warriors did that too. Anyway, so there were speeches and dancing. And Champlain describes the girls and women dancing in deerskin robes, and then they started taking it all off.
Okay. It's a party.
Mm-hmm. Fischer describes it in his book this way. Champlain described the beauty of these girls and young women, their supple bodies undulating before him. And I'm like, David, you took that too far. He's just so unnecessary, buddy. So all in all, Champlain and his buddy Pontgravé, they had a great time at the celebration, dog hurling notwithstanding. They had a very respectful interaction with Anadabiju and the other indigenous Sagamores and the interpreters. So good times. So after the celebration, Champlain started charting the area, starting with the Saguenay River and the Tadoussac Harbor. And after that, he went on to explore with Pontgravé leading the journey. He went on to explore the St. Lawrence.
Okay.
They went up the river to Trois-Rivières, then Quebec, and to Montreal. They went further, but then they were stopped by the rapids. But Champlain did have great conversations with the indigenous guides or companions. I don't know if they were guiding. And they described what was beyond the rapids, such as Lake Ontario, the Niagara River, Niagara Falls,
Oh, wow.
Lake Huron, the Ottawa
Yeah.
River, like, and so on. So he was having these great conversations, and he was kind of including this in his charting and his map about what was beyond, because he'd established a fairly good relationship with these people. Not bringing weapons. Good start.
And they're not telling him, they're not taking the piss and telling him about the men with no buttholes.
Yep. And the one-legged men.
Yeah. Yep. The land of one-legged men.
Yeah, it's full of gold and everything.
Yeah. Hey, you should go.
So, like on July 4th, 1603, they started making their way back down the river. And they were back to Tadoussac by July 11th. And from there, they went on to explore the Atlantic coast for another month before heading back to France. And they were home by the end of August.
All right.
And you know what Champlain and Pontgravé didn't do?
They didn't steal anybody.
They didn't steal anybody.
Like Cartier did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the previous voyages.
Yeah, in an evil show and tell.
Yes.
They didn't do that. So, bravo.
Or no kidnapping, I should say.
Yeah. So Champlain wrote a book as soon as he got back, unless like the devil was helping him write it, because it was ready to be published by November 1603.
Wrote it on the ship.
Yeah. So in it, Champlain does speak well of the Indigenous people. He had a fair amount of respect for them to a degree.
The dog hurling, didn't like that.
I don't know if he liked that or not. Probably didn't really take note of that. It was probably the undulating women that he was. That was maybe not quite the thing. So he titled his book Des Sauvages ou Voyage de Samuel de Champlain. Yeah. So Fischer explains the word sauvage meant forest dweller. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Sure sounds like
It means forest dweller in Old French, and that's what Champlain meant by that. I'm like, come on, dude. Okay. So he compares this with the term he called the people in the West Indies. He called the people in the West Indies Indians, except for the people in Guadeloupe who lived in forests. He called them sauvage. But I don't know. I think it's a stretch, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Take that for what you want. But also, Champlain's Dream is a book I'm going to be referencing quite a bit. It was pretty good, but I do think that when he was writing it, he let out kind of like a little now and then.
A little
Because he
fanboy.
really, really liked Champlain. He's like, no, he's so dreamy the way he treated them. He just wanted peace.
He's looking through some rose-tinted glasses.
Like this, he wanted this utopia. And also like, I think it was in the introduction, he's like, yeah, you just look at the way the people of Quebec treat the Indigenous people now. And I'm like, dude, no. I mean, I'm talking like people of Quebec, including all of Canada. We are like,
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, no, not great. Because he's also comparing things for the States, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
Okay.
we're not grading on a curve here, buddy.
Yeah.
It's still not great.
Yeah.
Anyways, listen, it's still a good biography. It is interesting, but you have to read that, and then you have to read a whole bunch of other things to get a better picture so that you're not also just getting all dreamy about Champlain and how great he was and how he was working towards creating this utopia with French Canadians and Indigenous nations. Peace and concord for all. No, not cool. So we will be back with Champlain because he's going to set off the next year in 1604, and he screws up bad. But that's next episode.
I'm wondering if it's starvation, freezing to death, colony collapse, or like all of the above. You don't have to tell me. Don't spoil it.
I mean, does he pull off a bit of a Cartier? Maybe.
Maybe
We'll
a
see. Okay. So you can follow me at Maple History Pod on Instagram or Blue Sky. I will be starting a Patreon. So check out the show notes. I should be ready this week to start. Or you can check the socials for details. I'm starting with a monthly newsletter that's going to have extra info about previous episodes, maybe a little guide to sources if you want a deeper dive into certain topics. Probably do some book reviews now and then. But you don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. I am very happy that you were listening to the show, and that is enough. That's it. I appreciate people just listening more than you could possibly know. But if you're like, hey, I really like this and I want her to keep doing it, you can join the Patreon if you want.
Awesome. We're gonna have a website up soon too. We have the Acast one or the default
just the
one.
kind of bare bones one.
Yeah, put one up. We'll have with transcripts and other things like that.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Kids at camp and things like that, so we have a lot more time. We only have one kid at home right now.
It's wild how peaceful it is.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll listen again next time.